So this is chapter 12, Abiding in the Self. Janaka is speaking now. Becoming first intolerant of action, then of excessive speech, then of thought itself, I come to be here. So remember now that it is Janaka. After hearing Ashtavakra again, now Janaka is speaking, and it's truly become a dialogue between two sages, or the communion of one. Becoming first intolerant of action, then of excessive speech, then of thought itself. I come to be here. What does this mean? Intolerant of action does not mean that we are averse to some action or to some inaction. It only means that I stop considering myself to be the actor, the doer. It is a big fallacy. Just because these sensations are so intimate, it can seem like I'm the speaker of these words. But I'm not. I see them arising. Just like this. And you must contemplate like this with your own movements, that seem like your own movements. You see that everything is just moving. This world is running effortlessly, and this world includes this body also. Often we've asked, are you being, existing with some effort or effortlessly? So your existence is effortless. In fact, if you applied all effort right now in this moment to not be, you couldn't. It is unstoppable, your existence, till it decides that it is done with this realm of experiencing and goes back to sleep. And existence does not need that existence on the basis of which all existence is experienced. All of this is experienced. The intricacy of the body and the intricacies of the rest of the world rely on your existence to exist. Because this is the one and only universal existence. It is not just a nice thing to say that God is everywhere. It is as much or more of a fact than any other fact that you can state. What is this God? What is the undeniable truth of this existence? It's your own existence, I am. And this I is not personal. It's not Ramya, it's not Ananta. It just is consciousness itself. So, once this existence is here, what happens? I am comes, and usually with I am comes all of this play of movement. You see? It's moving, including this body. It's part of the same appearance. But also as part of the movement is a trickster, is a tricky part. Which is not that we have to have an aversion to our mind, but to realize that it is not speaking the truth about me. It is telling me that I am a limited entity. It's telling me that I am something contained in this body. Or I am the owner of this body. Just that. Not the owner of the rest of the universe, but just the owner of this body. Then this duality of me and another can start. If you woke up from sleep and you never had this sense that there is any separation, all of this is one appearance. Then how would you live? same way as we are living now, because that is also just a movement of consciousness. But what is it that we are recognizing about ourselves? When we inquire, as Bhagwan implored us, who am I? Are we finding a limited person sitting there? I ask sometimes, who is in your heart altar? Who is in your inner citadel? Do you find one tiny person sitting there? Do this, do that, go here. This is what the mind will like to convey, isn't it? The mind will say, I want this, you should have this. It's conveying the voice of a limited entity that we cannot find. See? It's like a lawyer who shows up in court. But we ask, who's the client? And it says, that's none of your business. It has to raise an objection to what is. For everything, objection, objection, objection. Even in its so-called acceptance, it is an objection. I accept you, I forgive you. There's so much separation in that. You see that this lawyer is there, but we are looking for the client. Does this lawyer have a real client? This voice is representing somebody, but is that somebody real? And this is the point where the lawyer starts jumping, saying, no, we can't go there. That is too difficult. It is too abstract. I'm not interested in that. I'm a person of the world. This is the lawyer's voice. So then what is the trick? What is the tip? We ask, as Bhagavan said, who is witness of even these thoughts? What witnesses even these thoughts? Ashtavakra's number one pointing has been this. You are the witness of all phenomena. Is that itself phenomenal? Are you a phenomenal entity? Now, are you going to go to the lawyer for the answer? What is it going to tell you? That you are this measly client who is fighting for his or her own rights. What is it? This ego is just a bundle of self-righteousness in some ways, isn't it? It's need to be right. And that is the biggest resistance in Satsang also. But there must be some value to some concept that I hold. Something at least must be right in what I have believed about myself. What if all of it was rubbish? Every belief that you had about yourself. Would you suffer if you did not believe anything about yourself? Would anyone come and push your button? How would it be? Would this play of attack and defense of righteousness, right and wrong, would this play out? Grievances, guilt and pride, attachment. So when Guruji says, meet me naked, meet me empty, it is not a phenomenal thing. Meet me empty of all beliefs. Meet me with the innocence of a child. Not just for show. Becoming first intolerant of action, then of excessive speech. So this we looked at, isn't it? The body is moving on its own. And all of us must experiment with this. The claimant who claims that it knows how to move the body, I am moving my hand, is claiming that. the voice of this lawyer itself, but it doesn't know how to move the hand. And say, look, I'm doing it. Look, I'm doing it. How? Just like that is an appearance. I'm doing it, I'm moving my hand. The movement of the hand is an appearance. See, both are movements in your own being, in your own existence. The lawyer will come and say, see now, if you fall for this stuff, you will become the most irresponsible. You will stop taking care of your children. Okay? The children will go hungry and unbathed for weeks. It has never happened. This is just the same voice of the lawyer, which is saying that you exist as an individual entity apart from the rest of this world. And even if God is moving the rest of the world, is making these planets go around, all these trillions of worlds, all of the multiple realms, all of these beautiful, intricate forces that move here, which are moving here, all of that God is doing. But your life, your bills, all of that must be up to you. And we say, who is this I who must take care of it? No, that is not important. The mind will say that is not important. It is you. What you want to know? It's you. Shouldn't that be the basis of everything, actually? If you want to get somewhere, if you want to do something, if you want to get something, mustn't you first know who you are? So that has become just an assumption. I know who I am. So that's why we come to this funny situation, the play of consciousness itself, where we are constantly in denial of what we truly are, which is so apparent actually if you look for one instant. And we are constantly in service to that one which we cannot find. This is the mystery of this play. This is Maya. This is the illusion. How could it be that God Himself, herself, is posing as this limited entity who is doing only this? What is moving from this body, I am doing. Only that. That means it must be limited. Some measly character sitting inside this body, the owner of this body, remote controlling it. You are not that measly. Why? Because I have seen that about myself. There is no difference between you and I. So these words are not borrowed words. They're not something which I'm counting on the sages to say that yes, they must have been right, so let's all presume together. I'm speaking from my experience, which actually is your own experience. It is humorous at some level that I ever considered myself to be, or I still sometimes consider myself to be, just a limited entity. This is your truth, because I have seen our oneness. So, this, like my master says, you are not. That which you consider yourself to be is not the thinker of your thoughts, nor the doer of your actions. The limited perception we have about ourselves does not know how to do this. I said, the mind doesn't know how to move a finger. It can claim that it does, but it really doesn't. Not one neuron it knows how to fire. It doesn't know anything. It is mostly, just like as Maharaj said, mostly a post facto voice. A What has to happen happens, and this voice comes and says, "Very good, you did this. It's very good. See, we decided to do this. Very good." All say, "No, no, no. Shouldn't have done that." If we ask one of the two questions, but who are you who is saying this to me? Or who is it that you are speaking to? Either of these questions is enough. But mostly, we just go about in this blurry zone where I presume the mind is my voice, and who is it talking to? It's talking to me, with no investigation about. If it is truly my voice, then what it is saying, I must already know. Why I need a voice to talk to myself? See, why we need a voice to talk to yourself? So these little bit of investigations, if we can do, we can check with the mind. So who is it that you're representing here? What does it say? Mostly it runs out of moves very fast. If you ask this voice in our heads, who are you representing? You, me. Who you? Who me? What happens if you ask that? Is it that difficult? So much resistance. Once in a retreat in Thiru, uh, these words came up. It was close to lunchtime. So these words came up saying, if there was a speaker in this room, like a speaker, like a device, a speaker, where it just gave instructions. Yes, you are hungry now. Go and eat. Now this is what I want for lunch. Is it? Now you look at the speaker and say, who's speaking? And suppose this one said, I'm Rajan. And this is what I don't know why the name Rajan came, and any Rajans in Sangha, it is not personal. So the answer came, I am Rajan, and this is what I want. Now, this voice has always been there, like a speaker here. It's not actually here, it feels like that. It's just saying, yes, even now it's saying, yes, I'm understanding this. I'm not getting what he's saying. What does he mean? Is it like that? The constant commentary, this inner narrative, belongs to who? Now, if it happened in this realm, like this, where somebody came and said, this is what I want you to do. You say, but who are you to give me orders? And it says, it's you. What? Why we don't question the mind like that? Mind says, this is what you want next. If you get this, then you will be happy. How do you know this? And also, not just that, the last 2000 times that you've said this to me, it has not worked. It's not like there is no track record. It also has a track record of hundreds of things it told you that if you only got this, you will be forever happy. Has it worked? So like this snake oil salesman who's selling us this story, and yet we keep buying. Why? Because it's just habit. And it's some sort of a hope that so far it's led me down the garden path, but ultimately it will lead me to heaven or something. So far it's sold me tickets to a merry-go-round, promising that it's a road trip to heaven, but it's only been a merry-go-round. But because I've bought so many times, then ultimately one day I will get it. It's like how people get addicted to buying lottery tickets. Have you seen? They keep buying, and over the year they spend thousands of whatever currency they're using. And they say, because now I've invested so much, my odds are better next time. No, they're not. The mathematical odds remain exactly the same. But this is worse because the lottery ticket that is being sold by the mind, the prize you already have. Whatever it is promising to get to you is your eternal nature already. What a play, no? What a joke almost. Like the story of the one who's sitting on the box and there's treasure inside the box and he's begging for food. Someone comes down, go and open that box. No, no. What is the point? I know I've had it forever. It's useless. So the invitation to ask, it can feel like self-inquiry is very tough. It's very abstract. But actually, we're only asking what's in the box. We're looking outside for all of these things, but what is inside? What is inside? What is it that you are? Before you can tell me what you want, can you introduce yourself with integrity? Who is it that you are? So one thing is clear that you are not the, or that which you consider yourself to be the limited entity is not the doer. Therefore, both action and speech are gone. Then, of thought itself, I come to be here. So, what have we looked at? Action, movement like this, and movement of speech, then movement, which seems to be this inner movement of thought. None of these belong to me. This is what Janaka is saying. I am not the thinker of my thoughts, nor the doer of my actions, as Guru said. Then I came to be here. Neither sounds nor other sense perceptions attract my attention. Even the self is unperceived. The mind is free, undistracted, one-pointed, and here I am. Neither sounds nor sense perceptions attract my attention. Now, we have to look at this closely again because, again, potential for confusion. Everything is there. So, what have we looked at? We've seen that the Mahamantra of the ego or the mind is what? With this, we have to answer. Seriously? What's in it for me? So constantly, when we are perceiving objects in this phenomenal world, the mind is constantly asking, what's in it for me? What is the value that something that I perceive brings to me? So this what's in it for me is the Mahamantra of the ego. What is the what is this what are the side mantras along with this? It's not just what's in it for me, but it's also me first. And preferably me alone. Also in the Sangha you'll see that not a general statement, but many times the mind plays in this way, saying, it's fine if I don't get it. As long as nobody else is getting it either. It's very irritating if I am not getting it and others seem to be just so simply. It's very, very irritating for the mind because it wants to be first. And it wants to be alone if possible. So, according to the mind, what's happening in satsang is I will get enlightenment. Now, I will get enlightenment is why I'm here. What's in it for me? And I want to get it first. I want to win this race. You see this everywhere. In queues, in traffic. How this one cut me? How could they? You see? I was in the queue first. It's very bothersome. I'm not saying great, cute African, you can be Advaita about, loading the planes in airports saying, no, but we are one. Actually, it happened with me many years ago. I was in, I don't remember which one, either Dubai or Abu Dhabi airport. And there was a fellow countryman there. And we were all standing in line, and he decides that he's going to go first. And so I told him, so what's happening? Isn't there a queue? He told me in Hindi कि जाना तो सबको एक ही plane में है, which is everyone eventually has to board the same plane. So how does it make a difference? So that was his version of an Advaita of oneness. We all one. I remember that because it was so funny. What? So the world is built on these kind of principles where what's in it for me, what is the value, everything, even the mind, even this play of separation, of delusion, is a play of consciousness. Then we can say, so then why satsang? If the consciousness itself is doing the play of delusion, then why satsang? Because consciousness is doing this also. It is coming to the end of the movie, supposedly. Supposedly to the end of the movie, also with this play of coming to satsang and coming to the joy of self-discovery step by step. Because again, like in the movies, most of us, we don't like abrupt endings. Suppose that you had struggled with this person, with this egoic identity for millions of lifetimes, and suddenly a sage comes and says, "You are not that, you are the self." Then finished, movie end. Long, 4-hour movie. Christopher Nolan or something. Made this 4-hour movie where the struggle, person, what should I do, where should I go, how can I get it, all of that. Then you meet someone and say, you're not this anyway. You are the non-phenomenal, untouched, unlabelable self. End of movie. Okay. Because you want to, the consciousness wants to extract the juice also from this play of finding it, play of the oscillation between consciousness and ego. Sometimes, why do I still get stuck with my ego? You see? Like that, and then going back and saying, Satsang, it's all fine. And going back, stuck, I'm stuck again. See? So even this play of oscillation is a play of consciousness itself. Because that's what makes this lila fun for it. So neither sound nor sense perceptions attract my attention. Okay, we were talking about this. So now once belief in this idea starts to get dropped, what's in it for me? Whatever is fine. It just, not even fine, it just is. There is openness, there is acceptance of what is. This whole grasping, trying to own something or trying to be in aversion to something drops away. Then what do you find? If you don't have that kind of personal tension, you don't have go into meetings saying, okay, what is it? What is it? You tell me. What is fine. This is what it means here. Otherwise, it can sound like my attention will just drop away. This is very troublesome concept. Don't pick it up. My attention will drop away from the rest of the world, and my attention will only be on the self. Firstly, there is no attention on the self. It is the dropping away of this play of attention. It's like the baby coming back to sleep. So attention just comes back home in the resting position. Is this attention is designed for phenomena. Phenomenal content is brought back to us when attention goes. Yes. Like in deep sleep state, could we say that there is attention on the self? It's just empty of all phenomena. And yet we know that there is nothing. We, not mentally, awareness is aware of itself and nothing else, not even its phenomenal creation. There is no dynamic aspect. So when I am, we also find that there is a tool called attention. Now, for a long time we've contemplated what comes first, and then we realize that actually both are prior to time. So that contemplation of what comes first is irrelevant in some way. It's beautiful, just so that you can come to this conclusion that time is also subject to attention. Effort is required. Did you read further? Effort is required to concentrate a distracted mind, superimposed with illusion. Knowing this, I remain here. So that's what we spoke about. Most spiritual practices are trying to get a control over attention, trying to not be let it be distracted by this mind. What is a distracted mind? Basically means attention getting mixed up with the content of the mind. It's a distracted mind. So if I try to forcefully keep my attention away, just be with the breath. Just be with the breath. Listen. But don't you have that email to send? Don't you have listen? And it's coming like that, but you're trying to no. Breath. Feeling like that. So it can feel like there's so much effort in that. Knowing this, I keep all of that aside and I remain here. Which means I stay as the witness, untouched by any of this play, let everything come in. So stay as the witness means what? I'm not buying the pretense that I am something other than the self. I'm not buying the idea that I am something other than awareness. So because Janaka is discovered now, because he was a spiritual seeker, he did a lot of that effort and came to this, trying to move away from the mind, trying to keep it on other things. You see? And per se, there is nothing wrong with that. All of these practices also have been shared with beautiful intent. You see? But there comes a point where we outgrow those, we go beyond those. You see? And it feels like, okay, that was fine for that time, but now it's so much simpler to even leave my attention free, because to see that I am the self, I am not changing. Even if attention brings lots of objects, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what objects are being brought, because I'm not believing myself to be contained in this objective world. I'm not buying the interpretation from the mind. So I don't need to run away from the mind also. Because many times it can seem like the effort is to run away from the mind. It's to push away the mind. The mind, it's like when it comes, the opportunities that you give it to come, then it will come like a big monster or something like that. Now I got you. You see, you tried to run. It's nothing. It's just a tiny voice. So when it's effortless, attention also, my recommendation always is just let it be free. Don't try to force it here or there. Just let it be free. You see? The inquiries which I'm giving you, the questions which I'm asking you, they will, consciousness knows how to treat those inquiries and where attention should go and what should happen. You don't have to force your attention in any way. Nothing to reject, nothing to accept, no joy, no sorrow. Lord God, I am here. In this whole play of oppositions and duality is dropped away. We discussed this earlier also. You see? That even in spirituality, we can take positions. Sometimes we were talking to Nada, I don't know whether she's here today, but she was sharing that when I heard in Satsang that I have to be open, then I decided that I'm going to be open. And I opened myself, and then I saw that something is happening in my life. A lot of strong events have started to come. And there is some trepidation or some fear about what is going to come. I'm paraphrasing, but this was the feeling of the question. Because even openness can be a position which is the opposite of closings. See, even our acceptance, that's what I was saying earlier. That is saying, I accept everything. You see, I am forgiving the entire world. See, but what is the I in that? That is also this position of a limited entity, which might be feeling very glorious, but still it is a limitation. So openness means we are getting out of this play of duality and accepting it for what it is. And accepting that in this world, this yin and yang will constantly be. Shiva and Shakti will constantly be in motion. Don't play. Don't play as a participant in that way. See that you are beyond. Then whatever position this outward play is taking is fine. So we're not giving you new positions to take. We're not giving you new concepts to hold on to. If all that happens as a result of satsang is that you replace the concept, I am, put your name there, I am this person, and gets replaced with I am awareness. Just conceptually, then I failed at my job in the play, of course. So my job, if there is such a thing, is to point to you that you cannot apply a label to yourself. Empty of all positions, empty of all reference points, empty of any conclusion about yourself. Nothing to reject, nothing to accept, no joy, no sorrow. Lord God, I am here. The four stages of life, life without stages, meditation, renunciation, objects of mind, nothing but distractions. I am forever here. It's not an attack. It can sound like an attack on the Vedantic way of life or meditation practices or something like that. That's why I'm saying that look at it more as an outgrowing. We are looking beyond. What is a good metaphor? It's like with my daughter. She does not enjoy math too much. So there was a point where used to tell her to do single digit addition. Do single digit addition. So after a point, she started doing single digit addition, and we were happy every time she would do it. Now she had outgrown that. Now they've moved to thousands and tens of thousands. But she was still doing single digit addition. So we were saying, no, no, leave that. So it had its purpose. It served its purpose. So for some of you, you are recognizing that something is going beyond that. You've outgrown these practices, you've outgrown this kind of methodology, this path. You've basically outgrown the idea that if I do something, I will get there. You're coming to this seeing that you already are there. Might not be settled in, the oscillation might still be happening, but what is striking you as true in your heart is that what I've been looking for is what I've always been. You have never left the destination, as I like to say. Now, if this is ringing true for you, then automatically you will see that something is not so attracted now to that which you felt was so relevant earlier, so important earlier. So that is what is happening. So Janaka is not saying, well, it sounds like he's saying they're negative in some way, but basically he's saying, from so seeing that I have now, what I am finding about myself now, for that all these four stages of life and all these practices and rituals and all the meditation, all of that is just something to do which claims that it will get me there, but I am already there. It is so clear to me. That is what he's trying to convey. Doing and not doing both arise from ignorance. I know this and I am here. Very, very important. Doing and not doing is two sides of the same coin. This is very important for everyone who's in modern day satsang to hear. So often we hear that you are not the doer. You must also hear it that often you are neither the not doer also. Neither doing nor non-doing apply to you. Because most often when it is heard, then we take the opposite position. Oh, I considered myself to be the doer. Now I'm seeing I'm not the doer. You see? And yet, in the I, they can hide this limited notion of ourself again. I, the body mind, I consider to be the doer. Now I'm discovering that I am the body mind, but this body mind is not the doer. See, this is also ignorance. The point is that you are not the body mind. So it is not just that the body mind is not the doer, it is more importantly that you are not the body mind. Because otherwise we're just changing like a switch, like a mode, like a belief about the body mind itself. But the consideration about what we are continues to be that limited entity. So that's why this verse is very important, where they say, doing and not doing both arise from ignorance. I know this. I am here. So even this position we cannot take. I am not doing anything. Neither the doer nor the non-doer you are. If the words are confusing, don't worry. Just keep them aside. Stay with your question, stay with your inquiry about who you are. Then they will, very soon they will start sounding like common sense. Thinking of the unthinkable one, and it's capital O. Thinking of the unthinkable one unavoidably conjures thought. Thinking of the unthinkable one unavoidably conjures thought. I choose no thought and remain here. So good, so beautiful. What is this saying? Don't become one of those ones who are parroting or mentally holding on to concepts of the one, of the concepts of the self. That kind of mental, exactly what we were talking about earlier, where I said, if I leave you with just the concept I am awareness, just the thought you are awareness, then it is not the point of satsang. In our letting go of thoughts, in our simple openness, we come to the insight about this, the realization, the recognition, I am the self. It doesn't need the proclamation, I am the self, for the recognition. These are just pointers which are shared in satsang to point you in that direction. That's why more and more these days I've started pushing you, provoking you to share from your insight and not from your inference. Because many are inferring, you see, many are making conclusions based on what you've heard about awareness. You must share. Integrity means to share from your insight and not from your inference. I know how these pair of threes always show up. Integrity is based on insight and not inference. So in. The integrity that Maharaj used to speak of was this. It was not like a worldly sort of honesty. He was speaking of that. What is it that you're truly finding if you keep all inferences aside, all judgments, concepts aside? What is it that you are? It's like another in we can add to that. It's like Guruji's invitation. What does he say? Keep it aside. Past, future cannot help me here. If it is conceptual, cannot help me here. If you were to go beyond all of this, what is it that you are? Then you come to, as he says, come to this simple isness. Which is independent of any phenomena. That which you find yourself to be. So if you also, it depends on your terminology. Do you consider being to be phenomenal? I like to call it the primal phenomena or the immaculate conception. Because everything else is a product of being. The being itself does not have a phenomenal parent. Everything else is because I exist. I cannot have an experience unless I exist. Not taste anything till I exist. But this being, does it have any phenomenal precedent? Does it come from a phenomenal source? So, so this is like the before the phenomenal play starts. I am is. So whether we call it the primal or the primordial, in India it is called the primordial vibration. Om, I am. It does not come from anything which can be described even as am or being. So when we leave all inferences aside, just am. And there is a knowingness of this. Awareness, aware of itself and its dynamic aspect, which is consciousness. And consciousness not associated with anything that it is calling me, anything phenomenal that it is relating to itself as. And the best news is that all of this is your natural state in this moment. Otherwise, it can sound like I have something to do to get here. You are that now, in this moment. Before you can pick up an idea about yourself, you are the self. Of course, even after you picked up an idea about yourself, you are the self. Only the self posing as if you are individual. Thinking of the unthinkable one unavoidably conjures thought. I choose no thought and remain here. This is what we say. That's why for some of you, I try to get you away from this habit of thinking about it. Just use one or two key pointers that you hear in satsang and apply them to your inside. See where they take you. That is enough. That which is a product of just thinking will always be smelly, you see. That which is a product of just thinking will always be smelly. That which is a product of your own recognition inside, that will have the fragrance of love, of peace, of joy. Simple example is that many of you have not seen the little library we have here. So now, if you keep getting clues about this, I say it is to the right, and somebody says it's very beautiful, and somebody says there's a photo of Guruji there. Then on one side they're all Advaita Vedanta books. Then somebody says, oh, the full Ramayana is there. All these clues you get, and then you're thinking about it and trying to conjure up the imagery of it, concepts of it, and you speak from there. No matter how good a job you've done, no matter how many clues you've got, it will not smell of the truth. You see what you say about it. So the invitation is to step in. Once you walked in and once you've seen for yourselves, there's a different quality about it. So the self is not something that you have to think about and then come to a conclusion about. The self is your discovery now. This is what all the pointers in Satsang are for. This is what Ashtavakra is for. Blessed is he who attains this by effort. Blessed is he who is such by nature. Very, very nice. See? Then it takes away all this hierarchy that ours is the best path, ours is the best path. So whichever way you come to this recognition, like Bhagavan said sometimes, if it feels like effort to inquire, to come to the truth of who you are, then make that effort. Come to this recognition. And another times he will say, why are you making effort? You already are that. Drop all effort. So different quality of pointings at different times for different temperaments. So, but whatever way we come, whether it was seeming effort or whether it was just naturally seen, this was it. And all these experiences we've had in the Sangha. Some have come to this with very solid self-inquiry, effort, sat in sadhana, and came to this discovery. And some very naturally just come to one or two satsangs. Effortless. Why is then that idea can come? Why is this one doing so much hard work when it's so natural? You see? And the one who is putting all the effort is saying, that one is just fooling himself or herself. It cannot come like that. I have been trying for so long, it is not. So this verse, it takes away from this sort of benchmarking, checking, and making conclusions about which way is the best. By saying, blessed is he who attains this by effort, and blessed is he who is such by nature. It doesn't matter which seeming route is taken, because the discovery is that which is already here. So if it felt like for some they had to take 3 left turns and come to this point. Walk straight, take a left, take a left, take a left. And come to the self. Someone who just found that, I'm just here. It doesn't matter because the point is to see this, the truth about yourself.